I love, for a short period of time, I love Las Vegas. And one of the things that always fascinates me in Vegas when you walk through the casino, I don't gamble at all. I just like watching the people, the whole scene.
Like the scene.
The scene.
It's good people watching.
But one of the things that always fascinates me is going through the casinos, seeing the great big sports betting places where they have all these.
They're magical, right? Like the.
Well, yeah, I mean,
the
so many
marquees
big
and the-
screens,
right.
and then these people there, and the whole thing. And then I always think, why isn't sports betting legal all across the country? The Supreme Court is going to be taking this up.
Yes.
You've written about this.
Yes.
So, what is the case, and what are the chances?
So, in a few years back, I think in 2012, Chris Christie signed a law in New Jersey that essentially legalized sports gambling at racetracks and casinos, horse racetracks and casinos in the state. That law is theoretically illegal because there's a federal law called PASPA, the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, that bans sports wagering in all but I think it's like 4 states, only allows
But by the way, if you go to a track, you can bet on the horses. At
horses,
that track.
which is different.
Different.
That's pari-mutuel betting.
Yeah, okay.
It's not considered sports betting.
Uh-huh.
If you go to Vegas, Nevada is the only place where you can do single game sports wagering, the way that we think of it.
Yeah.
There's actually been a fairly big movement against PASPA, that law in the states. There's been several states that have. New Jersey's the farthest along. That law got struck down in the courts. They passed another one 2 years later. That one got struck down. Now they've appealed it to the Supreme Court. There's a chance that if New Jersey wins this case, that it could open the floodgates for gambling in this country.
So what it means is that people could gamble no matter where they are, online, on any game?
That's unclear. Because New Jersey's doesn't legalize online gambling. Theirs goes just at the racetracks and casinos.
Oh.
So you would have to go, if you're in Atlantic City,
Yeah.
you could gamble at the casinos there on sports.
On a, let's say, on a National League game, right? Or a football game
right.
or whatever.
Just like you do in Vegas.
Yeah, okay.
And then it would be up to it conceivably would be up to the states to decide do you want legalized casino gambling? Sort of what we do with casinos, right?
Yeah, right.
Just on sports. And the big question is, can they win? And then if they do, and even if they don't, frankly, it could force Congress to go back and revisit federal sports gambling laws. Because the leagues, the NBA has been very out front. The NBA wants legalized, regulated sports gambling, but only on a national perspective. They don't want state-by-state patchwork. The NFL says it's still opposed, but has a team moving to Las Vegas.
Yeah, right.
And Major League Baseball has basically said the same thing as the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So
Really?
yeah, they've sort of the opposition to sports gambling has started to change.
Pete Rose comes back.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
And so who knows? I think most likely is that eventually Congress is going to have to do something about it.
Yeah, I was thinking with the Supreme Court, whose job is usually to say whether something passes constitutional muster or not. This is not a constitutional.
It is. There is a constitutional question here, which is can the federal government, ban states from doing this?
Yeah.
And is it something that actually falls under the purview of the federal government or violates, I think, state commerce? And there's all sorts of constitutional questions.
right. That would be the crux of it, right?
Right.
Federal versus state power.
Right.
Not gambling, yes or no, because the Constitution doesn't say Americans shall not gamble.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have sports gambling when they wrote the Constitution. At least not on the NBA and NFL. So,
Which is why the Constitution is a living document,
right?
Because it has to be, it has to fix this new reality.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
How do you think it'll come down?
It's hard to say. There's a lot of people who didn't expect the Supreme Court to even take this case.
Yeah.
So the fact that they did, I think people think there's a decent chance for New Jersey to prevail. Either way, the gambling side people say that they need to. This should spark congressional action.
Chris Christie might go out with a win after all. Yeah.
He'll be able to talk about it on his new sports talk radio.
That's it.
He'll talk about it on the beach. Yeah. When he's getting some sun.